present, but I understand they're going to be watching it on YouTube. We have our Director of Finance here, I believe. I can see around the corner. Yes, Kristen's here. And Gordon McFarlane, the acting CEO. And we have Brian Harlick, and we have JP, we have JP DeRozier with us, and we have our Director of Tech Services and Engineer, Aaron McDonald, and Linda Stevenson from Tech Services. So we'll turn it over to Councillor Brian McFeely, Chair of the Planning Board. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship, and we'll call the December 21st meeting of Planning Board to order and ask for a motion for approval of the agendas. Moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Ramsey, that the agenda be approved as circulated. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. So our one and only item on the agenda is the Heritage Planning Secondary Plan and Bylaw SS20 review. The supporting explanation. The purpose is to review and update the City of Summerside Heritage Plan, Secondary Plan, and Bylaw SS-20. Background: this is part of the update cycle for land use plans and bylaws. We first updated the official plan in 2017, zoning bylaw in 2018, and draft subdivision bylaw SS-19 in 2020, and proposed heritage plan bylaw review taking place in 2021. Report: the City of Summerside Heritage Plan, Secondary Plan, and Bylaw SS-20 have not been reviewed since 2003/2004. These documents need to be brought up to date with current best heritage plan practices and be consistent with our official plan policies and applicable provincial legislation, including the Heritage Places Protection Act. The current Summerside Heritage Plan and Bylaw SS-20 will remain in place until the new planning documents are approved by Council and the province. A full 6-member Heritage Planning Board is currently in place, consisting of the 3 Council members of Planning Board, Councillors myself, Chair Brian McFeely, Councillors Barb Ramsey and Kerry Adams, 3 Council-appointed citizen members, Natalie Hashi, Carl Delaney, and Kate Cormier. To efficiently carry out this review, staff recommend proceeding with slightly smaller task force group. At the same time, the city must be inclusive of all stakeholders. Thus, the Summerside Heritage Historical Society should have representation on the task force. The task force consisting of Councillor, Chair of the Planning Board, or as designated, the 3 citizen members of Heritage Planning Board previously identified, and President Peter Holman, or a rep from the Summerside Area Historical Society. This 5-member task force will report to Planning Board. The task force will start its work in January and anticipates completing its mandate later in 2021. The Planning Officer and Development Officer will be the main staff resources to the task force work. It is anticipated considerable Heritage Planning Board input as well as community consultation will be required. Alternatives not applicable, advantages not applicable, disadvantages not applicable, cost financial impact not applicable. So the recommendation: staff are recommending a 5-member task force consisting of the Chair of Planning Board or designate, the 3 citizen members, and the President or rep of the Summerside Area Historical Society. The task force will report to Planning Board. And attached is the terms of reference. I'll read that into the record. It's only a page. Summerside Area Heritage Planning and Bylaw Review Task Force, terms of reference. The City of Summerside Heritage Plan, Secondary Plan, and Bylaw SS-20 have not been reviewed since 2003-2004. These planning documents need to be brought up to date with current best Heritage Planning Board practices and be consistent with our official plan policies as well as provincial legislation, including the Heritage Places Protection Act. This will be a major bylaw review and will require considerable Heritage Planning Board input and participation as well as community consultation. The mandate of the task force is to provide recommendations to the planning board concerning heritage matters such as, but not limited to, review of heritage best practices of selected municipalities across Canada, heritage plan and bylaw administration under the PEI Heritage Places Protection Act, provide a fair and consistent heritage scoring ranking system for designation of historic properties and buildings, and determine the scope of conservation and protection measures for the city of Summerside designated and non-designated heritage resources. The task force will report to the planning board. The task force shall dissolve when council either adopts the document by resolution or at any other time at council's sole discretion. Organization, the task force will be comprised of one member of the current planning board, who shall be the chair, the 3 citizen members of Heritage Planning Board, and 1 member of the Summerside Area Historical Society. So the task group is listed there. The planning officer and development officer will be the main staff resources to the task force work, and the term will be from January to December 2021 is the anticipated timeline. So, any questions, comments?
Pretty straightforward.
If all are in agreement, we should have a motion to forward this to council for approval. Moved by Councillor Adams, seconded by Councillor Ramsey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Contrary? Motion carried. And that wraps up the agenda for the planning board meeting.
That's all we have from the planning board.
Yeah, December 21st, so we call for a motion for adjournment.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's usually a lot longer than this, but that's quite all right.
Short is good tonight.
Okay. Thank you.